Yeah, every single one. Okay, we are streaming live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over. This is our pre-show. We just logged in, and next to me is Jeff Blanchard, good friend. And we are just kind of getting our feet wet right now. So let me check one thing.
It looks like you're Jeff Blanchard today.
Well, no, we both are, actually, because it's just up there. See, now we're both me. Oh, gosh. Yesterday on the eLearn chat, I lost all the lower thirds. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if it was Leslie or me, but somebody touched something, or we may have touched a button, and it just wiped things out. We're like, oh, man. And it was like 10 minutes before the show, so I said, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to rebuild them now, because to do so, I don't know if I could tie them into the controller as quickly. So I think what happened is I got out of the show, and hopefully it didn't save it, and they're still there when I get back in. But it was just bizarre.
I'll have to go in, because as I said, now with the eLearn chat going strong as well as Lectora Live, that's another 2 hours worth I've got to keep up watching.
There's not enough hours in a week.
I just started watching eLearn chat. I thought I've got to get to that later, because it looked very good. But so you've got to set yourself into a routine. I usually do one. It's when we used to do them a bit earlier, it used to be a Thursday night because everything was done.
Right.
And then I could sit round and do that before Friday, but now it's sort of just before, like the Lectura Live. I like to keep in
You did a weekly catch-up this week, right?
Yes, I did do a weekly catch-up.
Now, how's Jeff doing? He's okay?
He's good, yes, he's going well. So having everything all in order and that, so doing very well.
That's good. So anyway, I guess we have some new stuff to talk about. There's also a controversy with the GH5 and its autofocus. We'll talk about that on the show. So let me get back to the right button. Why don't we start the show prep then?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the intro queued, and here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. You know, we're talking about all the other shows, and I'm like, welcome to...
think about it.
What show were you doing? It's Tech Down Over. And joining me is our co-host and good friend, Jeff Blanchard. How you doing today, Jeff?
Good, thank you, Rick. I said a bit rested. You guys seem like you've been working on Friday. We're Saturday, but we did have Friday off.
Yeah, I remember the old days we used to get Friday off, and some people get Monday off, but it's rare. It's not that common anymore. And this is the week of Easter. So a lot of people are off for what they call spring break, but it was really Easter break in the old days. And this Sunday is Easter Sunday here, and I think probably the same with you. Tomorrow is Easter Sunday for you. And so there are two Easters in this world. The one's on one date line and the other side of the date line. Did I ever tell you that I actually I had two New Year's twice in one day?
Oh, did you?
We were on China Airlines. Well, the night before we were in Hong Kong, and it was New Year's. It was New Year's Eve, and all the fireworks and stuff that they did. And the next day, we're on a plane heading back to Los Angeles. And right about, I don't know, 5 hours into the flight, the pilot comes on and goes, "Happy New Year again!" And it was again. We had now reached New Year's again because we went backwards a day. It was interesting.
Because that's right. Because like New Zealand starts the world off in the day, doesn't it? And then it keeps going round, and then by the time you get back to you've just started it.
I know. It's really so. Is the date line right around New Zealand?
Yeah, it's around New Zealand, and they get the day first. I think New Zealand. It starts from there. And there was a little island. I don't know if it was Tonga, but there was an island between there and America that they were on.
Not Easter Island. Is it Easter Island?
I forget. No, but they switched from the our time zone to yours, so there was all up in arms because they lost a day.
Oh, was that that was not Borneo? Oh no, what was it?
Not Tonga, was it Tonga?
Tonga or the no? What's the famous resort place?
I forget anyway, but there was somewhere like that, and they had all the controversy, and I think they figured out it was better to be on the American time zone for business and all that. So because it was hit whichever it was a problem, but it was better to have the problem being out of sync with us than it was with America. So they went that way.
Yeah, interesting. Here we go. And we're back. Well, Jeff, it's been a busy week for the GH5. The Panasonic GH5 is getting a lot of attacks for its autofocus system, which is better than the previous version, but still ain't the best out there. In fact, I was watching Peter Gregg, and he rated it number 4 with all the others. He said, number 1 is manual focus. Nothing beats manual focus if you're good enough. Number 2 is the dual pixel autofocus from Canon, which I probably agree. It's probably the best one out there. Number 3, he rated the Sony systems. And I've been hearing that they do have pretty good autofocus for the most part. Not the best, but pretty good. And then he rated everybody else in the number 4 position, including the Canon, the Fuji, and all that. So that was really interesting. That was Peter Gregg's outlook on it. I kind of agree. I think the Fuji has pretty good focus, especially focus tracking and all that. Probably better than the Sony and the GH5. But to me, the controls are a little half-assed backwards. I'm just not that crazy about having so many manual controls for ISO. I don't find it that effective, but that's me. I prefer having, it's digital. Let's go with more digital. You see it on your screen, and it's fast, and it's big and readable, and blah, blah. The GH5 does have pretty good focus. In some of the tests I've done, it's not bad, but it does suffer a little bit from hunting around every so often, even though you're on face tracking and it's got your face there. You move and it's going, so it's a little dumb sometimes. But they've added so many other features that, I don't really care that much. And for what we use it for, which is mostly talk shows or interviews, we don't do a lot of sports tracking, so we don't care about that. We may do some simple tracking, and it does that for the most part okay. But it's funny. Most people probably wouldn't notice when it's not focusing quite right because it's so quick. There's just a little quick dip. And you go, did I blink or did my eyes just go out of focus? So it's much better than the previous, the GH4, which was not that good at tracking, and it was just sort of sloppy. And I'm sitting here going, I think Canon still has the best focus of anybody out there when they have the dual pixel autofocus. It's in their top of the line cameras right now. So it's in the C100s, it's in the, 200, 300, they're all using the same focus. So, but they didn't put it on every single camera, not all the lower end cameras or every camera they make have it. Like the 5D Mark IV has it, but the 5DSR does not, because they go, well, it's not really a video camera. And my comment is, if it's not a video camera, why the hell do you put video in it?
No, well, that's right.
And then say, well, we didn't put all the features of video. Then why do you bother? Give people a free phone. So it's interesting, but I do agree. I was thinking just this morning, going, I should have kept my 80D or even my 7D Mark II, because they have very good focus, and the 7D Mark II is very, very fast. I also had I had a bad one, so I sent it back. That was the Nikon 500, D500, but I'm not convinced Nikon knows who or what they are right now. I think they're confused. And Canon's not confused. They're just either stupid or greedy. I'm not quite sure which. Because they compete against each other to the point of killing themselves. I don't get it. We've talked about that many times. Now you have the 60D. That was a very good picture camera. But
it's an excellent picture camera.
But it didn't have the dual pixel.
It didn't have the dual pixel, but the main thing that really messed that one up for video, it did a great video quality, but it was all pretty much, you had to do it manually yourself, because you could half squeeze your focus, it would focus.
Right.
But once you started recording, it locked. It wouldn't focus again.
That's right. You're done. You had one chance and you blew it. Yeah.
So you didn't have any problem with it hunting for focus, because it was all done. Once you did that, so I had to do the first little shoot I did on that. I stuck a teddy bear in the chair and focused in on that to try and get me, and I still got myself out of focus. So really the controversy with the Panasonic with its focus, even with all the pre-release, all the people doing the focus, the tests and that, everybody still said it's a contrast-based focusing system.
Your volume is getting lower and lower.
they all said that. Said don't expect the same thing as the Sony's, because you're not going to get that. And a lot of the people who showing on the internet, they're saying, "Oh,
Hey,
I don't have a problem."
Jeff, your volume went down about 75%.
Oh,
you got really low all of a sudden.
Yeah, is it okay now?
No, it's still pretty low.
Oh, mine's still going okay at my end, the output. Maybe it's Skype. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, people can't listen to my...
I can hear you. Let me see the levels. You want to talk a bit?
Yeah, well, it's still going strong.
Oh, your levels are good. Just my headphone volume went down. Oh, that's weird.
It might be. Oh, well, as long as everybody's listening to me, well, hearing me, never mind listening to me. But as I was saying with the focusing issues on there's a lot of videos on there saying, oh, it's perfect, but there's a lot of people doing it on a white background with the person in front. And that's a huge advantage for that, because with just a white background, it's always going to keep you in focus. It's when everything sort of melds into the background. But I don't think I've ever seen a camera that's always perfect for the autofocus. And
no,
the autofocus is there to assist people. It's not there if you're doing a proper shoot. You might do it, and then you'd lock it and leave it, and then press it, focus it again, and don't let it do that, because you'll always get a bit of hunting on that. And like they said with the Panasonic, with the settings, if you up the settings to make the focus more responsive, well, then it sees little changes in it, then you get that hunting. So you lose either way, but it's the sort of different things. And then people are comparing it with, say, the A6500. Yep, that's probably got better focusing on that. But that has its own issues. I saw a video from Dave Dugdale was showing the image stabilization, that when he moved the camera, it just jumps. Now and then the lens just moved. And I said that's far worse than trying to organize the focusing on that. But
if you're doing 4K, it burns up and explodes. So I don't know. It's just...
But the thing is with all cameras, if there was the one perfect camera, there would be one company out there, and we'd all be buying that camera.
Right.
But there's I think there's more good things with the GH5 that I've seen than bad things, and I think it's just where maybe the hype and people have built it up saying it's going to be so much better. That autofocus is tons times better than the GH4. I think they said, yes, it was probably going to be a bit better, but from what I've seen, everybody said, well, we had that sort of issue with the GH4, and it's got the same sort of focusing, but there was, I saw this morning, there was a comment from a release from Panasonic, and it went for about a minute, I think it was, that they read it out. But I think it said they're looking into it, but and seeing what can be done, I think. So maybe there'll be a firmware update to accommodate some different things, but I wouldn't expect it, because it's just the way that the focusing is made, I think. So.
Well, there is a firmware upgrade coming before the end of April. So they are planning one upgrade, so maybe that'll fix some of these things, because it's really been quite an uproar that everybody's complaining. And then, of course, Panasonic did something stupid. They announced that, they're going to restructure and reorganize the whole company, and photos are going into a different division. And a lot of people went, I don't want to buy this camera, because they interpret it as the camera division is going away. What Panasonic does, which is sort of dumb, like a lot of them do, is they have, I don't know, what do they have, 20 cameras? Why do you need so many cameras? And they're all variations on a theme. You've got the GX line, the G line, the GH line, the G whatever. And there's a lot of lines. And people get the FZ line, the this, the that. People get confused, and then they wind up saying, why do I even need this?
Yeah, well, like the F-Z2500, the GX85, the GH5, they're pretty much all the same sort of camera, really. One's got a fixed lens, one's got a less, but they're all pretty much the same sort of camera, slightly different features, aren't they? So it's really strange how they do it. But I suppose they do it for a budget. But when you're looking at the G85, because I thought that was a nice camera too, but when you look at, well, it's not sort of a third of the price of that. So what? By the time you've done that, you say, well, I might as well go up for the next one, the GH5.
Right.
And the things I like with that, I just do like that bit chunkier body, but what I like is that weather sealed. I don't know if the GX85 is, but I want to have something where
it is. It's somewhat weather sealed. Yeah, it's weather resistant.
I love taking pictures more in the wintry climate and when it's raining and that. But I wouldn't leave my camera out. But that, if it can get wet and take some pictures for some time lapse and do that, that'd be much more handy for me. But I don't know about you, but well, here everybody who's got the or going to get the pre-order will be getting the vlog. Did you get the vlog with yours?
I don't believe so. I don't think there was anything in that. I'd have to check my paperwork, but I don't think I got it. Maybe I did.
Because everybody here...
I guess I don't care that much because I don't really want to grade all that much.
Well, I was looking at another review just when I was waiting online here, and somebody had done quite a good review, but I think a lot of the footage he's showing on there, it looks pretty much like vlog footage. He hasn't graded it, so makes it look a little bit. And when people see that and you don't do it, looks really horrible.
Yeah, when you don't grade it, it looks like communist Russia.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, that'd be a good film lot, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah.
Actual vlogs,
Dark misery.
Do it like that anyway. But it still hasn't put me off it. But the only thing that puts me off the GH5 is coming up with $3,700 to pay for that.
It's expensive over. I guess the money currency is still hitting you guys hard.
That's right, but it's it was better when it was one-on-one, so it would have been about 2,600 or something, but it was spending about $1,000.
And over here it's about 1990 something like that. It's 2,000, and then you have to get the battery grip because you really need the battery grip. So now you're at 2,400, and of course if you get the kit lens, that's probably an extra couple of hundred. But if you get a better lens, now you're at 3,400. So you're into the camera almost 4,000 by the time you just buy it.
Well, that's what I figured, 5,000 for me, because I thought once I get the battery grip, I'll just get the kit lens at 12 to 60, but the good one that's with it, and then one of their top of the range memory cards, and that's just about $5,000 when you get the essentials that you think you would need to have. So. And as I said, but luckily you've already got the Metabones adapter. But
I did have the Metabones. I haven't tried it yet on the GH5, or have I? No, I haven't tried it yet. So I'm dying to try that to see how it looks. Maybe this weekend I'll give it a shot to see how it affects it. You definitely have less. You have no crop as far as the sensor goes, or as far as 4K video goes. So it's a full sensor read. But you still get the crop for, so that hasn't changed. You're going to get a crop. And it should be interesting to see how the Metabones looks. It probably looks pretty good.
But the same with the Metabones adapter, though. So don't be worried. I think they were saying some of the lenses are not working for it yet.
Right.
But they said, don't worry. It's a brand new camera. So the manufacturers don't just go out and update their software for the Metabones until it's released to see what problems they do have.
Right.
And there was one there that was saying with a big Sigma lens, you could get it half the way there, but then when he zoomed in all the way, it just went funny and crashed.
Oh.
As I said, but as I said, that's to be expected with these things because will take a while before they update their software on the Metabones, but there's certain lenses that it works perfectly well with at the moment.
Right.
So just sort of when you buy these sort of things, you're expecting some sort of things like what you do with anything. You get your software, and even now with the GH5 with that 10-bit recording, if you just throw it into your laptop.
Now you have heard the 10-bit recording, nothing reads it.
Nothing. Well, as I said, on the 10-bit, it says like in the Mac, all you just see is the file name. You won't see a preview image. Yeah. And as I said, it's very hard for it to do. I think some Premiere does.
I think Premiere does. Yeah.
Yeah, Final Cut doesn't, but it still has a bit of difficulty processing it if you haven't got the power onto it. But it is a very intensive file. But I believe you can still do it on Final Cut, but there's a workaround you have to do. Yeah. People have to get that file there, do something else.
Right. You have to re-render it out. And unfortunately, that's an issue. The 6K photo also isn't read by anything. So I was watching one podcast. I think it was Peter Gregg again. And with that one, he got a tool called Convert version 4, convert. And it did a really nice job of creating all the images from, he did about, I'm not sure, he did several minutes of filming his dog Sprinkles. And by the time he was done, he had 650 photos. And he used Convert 4.0 to break them out, did a beautiful job. It's only a $20 package. I've got to go find that one. And then he used Lightroom to just, delete what he didn't want and everything else. The picture quality was amazing. It really looked good. And, but it's not just you take it out. You can do it in the camera, but it's slow because you've got to select it. Then it processes it. It probably takes 3 to 5 seconds to get one shot out of it. And then
I've just sort of got on to Peter Gregg. I hadn't seen him before.
I like Peter Gregg. He's hilarious.
When you mentioned the dog, I thought the dog's name was Jingles, but it's Sprinkles.
Oh no, you're right. It is Jingles. It is Jingles.
Jingles. Is it? Oh,
Jingles. Sorry, I thought he was Sprinkles.
He was in the Christmas room, and he says, "There's Jingle Bells."
Jingles. Yep. He's a cute little. I guess he's a Bichon Frise, maybe? I'm not sure. He's cute.
Lovely dog. I thought you was going to say Peter was.
Yeah. Peter's a dog. No, just the dog's cute, but Peter's a dog.
Lovely.
Peter's great, though. Peter's sort of funny. He's eccentric, you could tell. He has his Christmas room set up all year, and you know what? Hey, I don't blame him. Christmas is fun. And he's been doing, I like when he did his 5D Mark IV analysis. He bought it twice. 2 times he bought. He's worse than I am. He bought the same camera twice. Of course, I'm not that much better. The other day I was thinking, maybe I'll get the 80D again. No, stop.
No, don't you. I didn't realize you'd sold that one.
It sold like that.
Yeah, it would do.
But I'm going, no, I'll wait. I'm kind of looking at the 5D Mark IV if, and only if, they put in new firmware to fix the codecs, give you better codecs, and make it actually usable.
Well, that's what they were saying, that is in the thing. So what I hear is they're going to fix that, because that's the one big downer for that, is that codec for the video. But also as well, like was just saying about not being able to read some of the Panasonic files. Well, Canon have the same thing with that one. They
with
have
the MXF files.
Well, they have for there's the dual focusing or something files with the pictures, and it does all this one before one really great quality pictures.
The post focus or whatever.
Yes, post focus, but it only works on the Canon app.
Well, I know, and it's a stupid feature anyway, because it's such a minimal adjustment. Who cares? That's Panasonic's been doing that for years, so there's nothing new. They've been doing it for at least 3 years, so nothing really new there.
And with the cameras, you can just take so many. You can pick one out of it. You don't need the camera to work that out for it and take all the operating power of that just to do that.
So I think, based on what you said earlier, as long as the camera keeps screwing us every which way, then we'll never know what's a better camera, because they're all screwing us. But it's but we're not enjoying the screw. I don't know. It's just not a good thing.
But I tell you what, though, out of all of them, even that I love the Canons. I do love the Canons, but I must admit I do love the layout of the Panasonics, and I'm always more comfortable with them.
Yep.
And as I said, I'm filming on an old Panasonic digital video camera, and that's never let me down.
By the way, I've been thinking about this. You've been for about maybe a month now using your old camcorder, and I think your shots have looked better with that than the X810.
Yeah.
I'm just going, it's amazing. That's $1,000 back when in its day camcorder.
$700 when
how much was it?
$699.
$699, and it looks damn good. Your face is sharper, the pictures are sharper, and I'm going, which again, the X810 was good, but it was soft. It was much softer. It has a bigger lens and everything, but for some odd reason, this looks sharper to me.
It's definitely Panasonic do a great job. They do. It is nice, sharp, and as I said, I just could never complain with it.
For example, looking at your eyes through the glasses, they're sharp, which you didn't get really in the X810 that much.
And it's a much smaller footprint. The only downside with this is you cannot put an extra microphone on it, but for this it doesn't matter. And the only thing I have to remember is to, on the shot, switch down the volume from the camera, because I can't switch it off.
Just turn it off, turn the audio off. It's coming in through HDMI?
Yeah, just coming through HDMI, and as I said, I don't need to do anything fantastic with it. And as I said, all the auto features work. I can set it manually, like I like to for the video shots. But it's such an easy camera, takes up so little room compared to the XA10. It's well worth doing it. And as I always say, this is the only camera still that I can go out in the middle of the day with bright sunlight, and I can still see the LCD display.
That's something, because that wasn't even an OLED in those days.
No, and I can always see that, and that's the thing. And the camera I got after this, the next video camera, was a Canon XA10, and I thought I paid, what was it, 3 times as much for it.
That's probably about $2,000, right?
And I thought, that was going to be great. About $2,000, I think I paid for the Canon. So I thought, this is going to be fantastic. And the screen, they pull up, and then I got the LCD screen. I couldn't see a damn thing outside.
No, you can't. But it has a pretty good electronic viewfinder.
It does, but the only thing with that one is you get the extended battery, and you can't get your eye into it because it pulls out about that much.
It comes out too much,
and your nose is stuck on the battery, and you can't.
See, here we go again. It's how they screw us over. There's always something to screw you over.
It's a bit like the C100, the first one that had the standard one, you couldn't get into it. Then the Mark II had one which you can just pull up a little bit. And
then you couldn't read it anyway. It was so grey.
Well, then but as I said, they keep improving things. But like them, they still have their claim to fame is their new CMOS focus. Is it CMOS focus? Is it? Theirs is that the focus. It just goes very good for the C100 Mark II. But I wouldn't mind that one if it's, like I said, if it comes down to $2,500. Well,
yeah, but remember on that one, you have to grade. You don't have much of a choice, and the file sizes are huge. It's like the 5D Mark IV kind of, and you just go. It's also heavy. It's not a light camera. So most of the people I know who have it tend to have 1 to 3 people working on it.
And the thing that just really annoys me with doing all the videos and all the different things is if I go out with a, say, GH5 or whatever and then start filming in certain places, you get into trouble for filming them. But if you take your iPhone out or your Samsung phone out, nobody cares, and they can do just the same thing. So am I more terrible because I've got a proper camera? Am I going to be doing more horrible things than somebody with a phone? And they said, do you think people who are doing the evil things are going to say, oh, well, I can get away with a phone?
That's true.
It just really annoys me that, and same thing with the DSLR. If I'm there with a DSLR, I can get away filming more than I can with a video camera. If I do with a video camera, oh, what are you doing with that? Whereas they don't seem to mind for still shots. But
you look like a terrorist.
Yeah, and as I said, if people want to do the wrong thing, they don't need to go and take photos. They just look at Google Earth and get pictures off that.
I know, that's true. They're doing all the spying for you.
Yeah, they don't have to do that. They can find everything online. They don't have to do it in person these days. So
that's true. That's true. So I'm sitting here going, I've got 2 new GH5s. What are we going to do with them? We're sitting looking at what kind of things are we going to film with them. Still have the Fuji films I'm thinking of selling because we're not really using them that much. They're nice, but nobody likes them. I mean, some of the people in here have played with them and they're like, I don't like, that doesn't feel good. So
it feels like an old camera, doesn't it?
It feels old. The ergonomics aren't so nice. I don't think they're that good. And even the battery grip with it feels a little clunky compared to the Canon. It just doesn't feel very nice. Whereas when you get the GH4 or the GH5, it just feels good. It feels great in the hand. The controls are where you want them, how you want them. In fact, a lot of the controls look pretty much like a Canon. So if you like Canon, you're going to get very similar controls. And on the Fuji, I'm not crazy about it. It's good. It takes beautiful pictures. The color, I think, is probably as good or better than Canon. So it has great color. But I don't find it the easiest to shoot with or to modify when you're out there shooting. The menus are really teeny. And they did some weird things on the menus where everything's uppercase, and it's just, I don't know. I haven't gotten their latest firmware update. It's like 3 months ago. So I should get it, but I almost don't care. I think I'm probably going to sell it. I mean, it's a darn good camera. I'm just not crazy about it. And I'm finding more and more I'll probably just stick with Canon and Panasonic. I still don't see any need to get a Sony yet. The one I got was the RX10 Mark II when I got it. It was good, but I gave it away. I didn't like it that much, and it wasn't bad. It shot well. It didn't have the heat problem. But it was more of a bridge camera, so I couldn't really change lenses or anything. It was nice. It was my introduction to Sony to see if I liked it, and I didn't like it that much. I think people either love Sony or they don't.
Yeah, and as I said, a smaller form factor, and people say, "Oh, isn't that great? They're much smaller than the Panasonic's, a bit too big." But I thought, you have these little things, and you put these whopping great big lenses on them. So what's the difference? Because very few of these cameras have the little lenses on them, do they? Nearly all have a big lens on it that's bigger than the camera, and you need something chunky to hold that and support that. So I can't see the problem with the size of the camera unless it was. And like even the biggest ones, what was it? The 10 in the Canon, that's about $6,000. Even that's not huge, is it? It's the XA1. Is it XA1? I think it is. I forget what it is, but it's their big chunky one.
Oh, the 1DX.
Yeah, 1DX, that's right. But even that's not huge.
It's a tad bigger than maybe the 5D Mark IV. A tad, not a lot. I have the 5DSR. It's probably not much different from that. I mean, the 5DSR body is the same as the 5D Mark IV, as the 5D Mark III, and the 7D Mark II. They're almost all exactly the same. The 1DX is a bit taller, but that's it.
And then, to me, people who sort of say, "Oh, I don't like the bigger size camera," what do they do when they first get it? They usually put the battery grip on it to make
I know.
And if they said, "Oh, I would like the smaller form factor," then they put the battery grip that makes it bigger, chunkier one anyway. But that's the whole point of it.
Now, I went out the other day and I shot a little bit with the 5DSR, the 51 megapixel beast. And I had the 70 to 200 Tamron. And man, handheld, it was beautiful. I mean, it was clean, sharp. I was going, wow, and the details when you zoom in on things, it's just amazing.
But that's another thing that just goes to show you there's horses for courses, isn't it? So like that one there, maybe not for everyday shooting, but for certain things, it's fantastic. And even that video on it, it's got that unique quality I found on that from the videos you've done on it. Really makes a different quality. It just looks totally different to anything else.
It's funny because I've had more people compliment us on that Giovanni video we did. And that's funny. We only had it as like one camera, and we had the XC10 as the second camera, and they both looked pretty good. But the 5DSR did actually look good in video. It was 1080p, but it looked really sharp.
But it was just the colors. It just looked quite different to anything I'd seen before, and I was quite impressed with that. And as I said, the different things do for different jobs, and I'm glad you didn't get rid of that, because I think that's one of the things you go to in certain situations. And like they said, if you're not wanting that detail, you don't need that. But the thing is, with those huge files, you can crop into the top left-hand corner of it and make a picture out of that as well.
Oh, I know. That's the incredible thing. And also, if you don't want to use the full 51 megapixels, you can go down to, I think, 28 or 30 something, then 24. So you can bring it down to different sizes, and it just crops the sensor for you. So if you want something with less detail, you can. But, you got 51. And by the way, not every shot is 51 megapixels. I mean, it just depends what you're shooting and the amount of detail.
That's right.
It adjusts. I don't think I've ever gotten a shot that was bigger than 30 megabytes, and that was rare. They tend to be in the 20s, because that's the amount of detail you have in the shot. If you don't have that much detail, it ignores it.
But as I said, it all depends what you want to do. But if they fix up that the 5D Mark IV, is it the video codec?
I would consider it.
I think that's because other than that, I think it's a pretty darn good camera with the autofocusing it has on it, all the other features that people love with the.
It's got a touch screen.
Canon 5Ds, and it's got a touch screen in that. And
I wish it swiveled, but no.
It doesn't swivel?
No, it only goes up and down, I think.
Oh, okay. So,
why would Canon? No, Canon has to screw you in something.
Because they have it on their cheaper ones, don't they?
I know, so they don't put it on the better one. No, it's a professional camera. You know what? I don't know. One professional wouldn't want that. So,
but maybe that's why they says, "Oh, a true professional wouldn't dare have a flip-out viewfinder."
Well, yeah, well, I say, you know what? Screw the true professional. We want to be functional.
But the main thing I like that for is you can put it away, turn it round, and don't scratch your screen, and just have it as a normal camera.
I know it protects your whole.
When you're looking through the viewfinder, and then when you do want it, you can flip it out, have it on the back of the camera if you don't want to move it, or flip it out if you want to do.
Yeah, and it totally protects your screen.
Yeah, and that's like my Canon and the Panasonics have got it. The LCD screens haven't got any scratches on it. You don't need protectors,
right?
Because you just fold it up, put it away. So when you put it in your case, and that's where you scratch all your screens, not when you're using them. It's when you're sliding them into your bags. Even the softest bags will put some.
Well, by the way, speaking of bags, I have to give credit to Think Tank. Remember we had Think Tank on?
Oh yes, Think Tank. Yeah, they do some great
and he was
bags,
talking about the producer bags. They're great. Mm-hmm. We have two of them. We've got the thicker, slightly shorter one, and then the taller one. Those bags are wonderful. We have almost the whole run and gun streaming video capability in that one bag. We've got the two XA25s. We've got all the microphones, all the PreSonus amplifiers, all the cables, all the HDMI converters that let you, the major wells that let you take your HDMI signal and let you stream it. All of that plus lights and stands in one bag. It's great. They are wonderful.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, these bags are absolutely great. That's what we were looking for. And they're not as hard as the Pelicans and not as heavy, which I like. We're going to be shipping it in about 2 weeks or about a week to Cincinnati for the Lectora User Conference. We're going to be streaming live over there. So we're bringing our same setup. I'm not sure what lights we're going to bring in. I may take the studio lights, the blenders, because they're so small and then I don't need an extra bag. And then we're good. And I can put the tripods in our luggage, and that's good because they're small travel tripods. And the other thing is, if you're looking at tripods, take a look at the new line from Manfrotto, the Be Free line. Be Free. They're travel tripods. I think they start about $145. Aluminum tripods, very light, really, really pretty nice. And they are lightweight, small. You can take them pretty much anywhere, and that's good.
There was I was listening to one of the podcasts, and he was recommending these tripods that come out in bright purple, and they look hideous sort of colours.
Yeah.
But he said they're great. He said because whenever you set up on them, nobody thinks you're a professional doing anything, because they said, look at this idiot with his purple tripod.
Oh, that's funny.
He said, they just go away. They said, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, or she doesn't know what they're doing.
That's hilarious.
And he said, it works. Nobody has ever questioned him using one of them. He said, but they're damn good tripods, but they're just horrible colours.
Wow. Well, Jeff, we are at the end of our show. We've done about 40 minutes already.
Probably a little bit, because we started a little bit early, didn't we?
Yeah, it was not quite 10 to 4, but 10 to 3 our time, so I think we did about 40 minutes. That was good. Yeah, we both need to buy new stuff to the show. It's been a long time. I got to get more stuff, but not allowed right now.
Well, I don't mind. What I just get annoyed sometimes is, with all the things that you get, your new things, and with work, your day-to-day work, I don't get the time to go and play with things as much, because you're preparing for this, whereas if you do play with it, you're stuck for the whole week. Like if I sit in front of Premiere or Final Cut with some videos and that, I can waste the whole week. And but you've got other things to do, and you said, no, I won't do that. And then, like I want to, like in for this show, I want to upgrade my... what do we call it, is my Wirecast. But I never have the time. I'm too scared, because if I don't do it 2 minutes after I do it, I'm too scared I'm going to delete everything. It's going to take me a week to set up again.
Reset it up again, I know. And you know what? It may not be totally compatible when you do that. They've screwed us over before. And I have the upgrade, and we haven't used it much. It's okay.
But I must give Adobe a praise for this as well. This week they just released Captivate 2017.
2007 Captivate?
Captivate 2. That's what they're calling it. 2017. It's not, but it's version 10 really.
Right.
It's 2017. But the thing is, what I like with all of their versions in Adobe is when you get it, it just installs it as the next version.
Right.
You've got your old legacy ones left, so you can still go back to them and use that while you've given you time to set up the new version. So with some of them, like Wirecast, I think it overwrites your other one and you can't use your other one again.
Yeah, so, I think you're right. Yep.
Whereas with Adobe, they'll always ask, even in the Creative Cloud, whenever there's an update and people complain, oh, it overwrote. Well, there is a section there that says, do you want to overwrite the current one or leave it?
Yep.
So you can have it, and you're best off not to do that with Creative Cloud, or else you'll end up with 500 versions.
That's true.
Photoshop, but every time they do an update, but you just, sort of pick and choose when you want. But that's a good thing with Adobe anyway.
Yep. Well, anyway, Jeff, good show, and we'll see you next week. And everybody in the audience, we'll see you next week as well. Have a good one. Take care.
Okay. Bye for now.